Hey Buzz, welcome to the Zoom. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll start off with Olin Buchanan from Texags.com.
Yeah, Buzz. First, congratulations on that comeback and everything y'all did there in the second half. What do you have to do? What did you do to keep your guys believing that they could pull that off when early in the game and early in even in the second half things were going against you? How did you keep your guys so believing that they could still come back and win that game?
I can't take any credit for that, Olin. I think it's how their parents raised them. They're really good kids. And to some degree, and I'm saying this respectfully, to some degree, they're too good of kids. And they're smart. They understand what we're saying. They understand what we're asking them to do. We just haven't had consistency in doing those things. And are we going to be the team from the second half tonight relative to our energy, relative to the competitive spirit in which we played, the communication level? You could probably hear it through the TV because of the fan situation. I thought it was the most together we have played relative to the recipe that is required of us for it to be a game. I mean, we scored 56 points, and that's our average. But we were down 13 with 19 minutes to play. But in the first half, they missed 14 shots. That's good. But of the 14, they got 7 of them back, and they scored 8 points. It's just hard for us to overcome. In the first half, we gave them the ball 20% of the time. It's just hard to overcome. But the only way that you can overcome it is having the spirit of fight, of togetherness, all of the coach cliche words that will at least give you a chance. And it at least gave us a chance because we knew that was our only choice. But in truth, whether we're winning, whether we're losing a lot or a little, it's still our only choice. And so I hope that tonight's second half will be an acceptance similar to what our team did last year. They finally accepted what the margin was. And they said, okay, this is the only way it's going to work, because we've tried a lot of different things that don't work. And we have not wanted to try them. We've just not been disciplined enough to do exactly what we know we have to do in order for it to be a game. And so the next question, Olin, will be, can we take the second half and then can we take a baby step from the end of this game? Or when we work tomorrow and Friday, are we going to go back and start the way this game started? And from a maturity standpoint, that's the next step this team has to take. That's the next step this program has to take. And despite all of the things that have occurred over the last 9 months, that's to us or to everyone else, from a maturity standpoint, we've got to take the next baby step.
All right, well, that's great. Thank you very much, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Buzz, when you're talking, the computer is shaking a whole lot. So I don't know exactly what's going on with the.
Well, the setup here in Stark Vegas, you can only imagine. Like you can kind of see these screens behind me, and if you saw what they were sitting on, or if you saw this TV tray, it's similar to the one that Travis's aunt had when he had to go there in the summer. Like it's just marvelous.
Yeah. Well, I think Travis has a question from his aunt that he wants to ask. So we'll go Travis next.
She sends her well wishes. So I know you kind of addressed this in the first, but I mean, is that as good of a half of basketball as you can expect or that your team could play?
What I'll say, Travis, obviously we scored some baskets. I think the last 2 second halves, we've scored 5 baskets. So you've heard coaches say this, and I try not to ever sound like a coach, but if you make some shots, it looks prettier. Our statistics on the things that cause us grief weren't just completely outrageously better in the second half than the first half, but making shots overcomes that. We haven't scored 14 baskets, no matter who we have played in any half this season. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we're a little offensive sensitive too often. And that's what occurred in the first half. There's too much volatility in our response when we don't make a shot. And it leads to we don't make a shot and then they score. And now we have 3 guys coming back on offense that are zoned in where we need to be instead of 5. I thought it was in the second half the best we had been, no matter which 5 were on the floor, relative to the lane that we have to stay in order to have a chance. And I think that it was the best spirit and talk from those not in the game that we've had in 20 minutes as well. We need everybody to be the best at what they can do and not anything different, because different, we don't have the margin to absorb. Let's see if I can try this on this possession and if it will work. Let me see if I can take myself out of the play defensively by reaching or gambling. And let me see if that turns into a sports center play. Let me see if I can shoot off 1 foot with 1 hand outside the charge circle instead of 2 foot, 2 hands inside the charge circle. We can't, there's too thin of a line. And the line, honestly, is not thin. It's a negative line. And I say that respectfully, because if we play to that line and we are accepting of that, similar to how our team got last year, then you have a chance to score 56 on the road and win.
And then with 2 games, 2 wins, the guy with the ball on offense at the end of both games is Andre Gordon. Seems like he is a guy who has relished those and made the most of those opportunities so far.
Well, similar to what I said the last time that happened, he's not scared. And I'm not implying that anybody else on our team is scared. Dre is not like a college basketball savant. He is a competitor, but it's not like he grew up knowing who this guy was and what he was ranked and where did he play. And I also think from a tactical standpoint, he's strong enough and tough enough to play off 2 feet. We get a shot clock violation on the last possession. That's 1 of our 11 turnovers. That's okay, because now it's not a live ball turnover and they have to go length of the floor against the set defense. It just so happened they called the timeout, so it's out of a pause. But that we got them in rotation and he played off 2 feet and it almost led to a shot. We need it to lead to a shot, but I just think that it speaks to his toughness.
And then finally, did you get to see a chance to see a replay of the flagrant on a coup? And how do you coach that in the future?
Yeah. I've just tried to stay away. I've tried to follow my advice to our team. And can we not give energy or emotion to things that we can't control, because we're not good enough to take our brains and our energy somewhere else. We have to stay locked in on what we're doing. I mean, there's multiple possessions, and I've just got to the point, like, I don't even, we can't say hello to them. You're not supposed to say hello to the coach. Do you give them dap? Do you hit their elbow? Do you shake their hand? Do you not speak to them? Do you not look at them? It's just, nobody knows the answer, not just me. Okay, well, let's just stay away from all of that. And let's, the Latin word, you learned it when you went to college, nunc sepi, now I begin. So was it flagrant? I don't know. Now I begin. Was it a turnover by Dre on a shot clock violation? Now I begin. And that's what our team needs. And that's where we've got to focus. Was it something good? Yes. Okay, let it go. Now I begin. It's the next possession. It was something bad? Yes. Nunc sepi, now I begin the next possession.
Thanks, Coach. Safe travels.
All right, next up is Chip Howard from Sports Talk.
Hey, Buzz. I want to talk about your success on the road. You guys in conference play last year and now with this really nice win, you've been, I think, as good or better on the road as you have at home in conference play. Any thoughts on that?
Let's see. I think we were 5-4, Chip, at home last year and 5-4 on the road. So now we're 2-3. Have we played 3 games on the road? We played at South Carolina, we played at LSU, and we played. So we're, what are we, 1-2 on the road now, and what would that be? 1-1 at home. We need to do a better job at home. That would be the first coaching response. And then I think a sign of toughness, a sign of character is giving yourselves a chance to win on the road. You know, we pray across the floor as a tradition prior to working. And then you may have seen it on social media. It doesn't come from my account because I don't want it to be arrogant, but we take a road game picture, and we've done that throughout my career as a head coach, regardless of where we've been. And we haven't won a road game this year. So I mentioned to our freshmen when we took the road game pick here, guys, we do this so that if we win, you know, that goes on our culture wall in our facility. Obviously, they're not allowed to go in there, so maybe they'll see it when COVID is over. But if you win a road game, we put this picture up. So this will be the first time we've been able to do that this year. So I think that, you know, it's kind of like when you evaluate a coach, sometimes you can take away non-conference games, and you should only look at league. How do they do in the league? And then within the league, how do they do on the road and how do they do at home? It's kind of like coaches, how many NCAA tournament games have you played in? It's not really how many times have you been. That's a portion of it. That's the first layer. But the next layer is, okay, well, when you go, how do you do? And that's just my opinion. I'm not saying all coaches believe that, but I think winning on the road is a mark of some level of toughness and some level of growth and maturity that you have the togetherness or fight to try to bend the game towards you, whether you play at home or on the road.
Thank you.
All right, we'll wrap it up with John Wilson from KBTX.
Coach, from this game, what would you like for your players to take? What will you teach them? More that you can learn from the statistics that you talk about and that you shared with us earlier this week, or just that competitive spirit that maybe doesn't show up on a stat sheet?
Yeah, what was it? Albert Einstein that said some things that you can count don't count, and some things that you can't count count. I know he said it much better than I did. I went to a junior college, but what we need are the things that you can't count. Whether I talk about stats to you or to our team, the things I visit with you guys about our team is aware of, hey, they rebounded 50% of their misses in the first half. We turned the ball over 20% of the time in the first half. You can't overcome that unless something changes. But like I told our team after the game, the numbers are not crazy better. The numbers are not good enough to advance in the NCAA tournament better, but the togetherness and the spirit and the communication in which we fought, the things that can't be counted, that's why we won. And so now it becomes, okay, the next time we work, are we going to start from this point, or are we going to rewind and go through this song and dance again until we get everybody on the same page? We just have too many brain lapses where this guy is in a different sphere and this guy's in a different sphere, and we're not good enough to play 3-on-5 on either end of the floor. So I hope, what was that? We played 5 conference games. So we have 13 left plus the Big 12. So 14 games left. Can we start from this point relative to the intangibles? Because we are going to be an intangible program. I'm an intangible coach. And that has to be where it starts. And I think similar to Chip's question, those intangibles are what give you a chance to win on the road, which is why we started at Arkansas last year and we surprised ourselves because the intangibles mattered so much and it wasn't a blowout. And at that moment, even though we lost, our guys were like, oh, I think that stuff you can't count. I think it matters. And maybe tonight, second half, maybe we can get back to that, because through however many total games we've played, we haven't had that on a consistent basis.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's all we have. Nice win, Coach.
Okay, we're thankful. See you later.
Good win, Coach. Be careful coming back.
What's up, love?